Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Horler and I'm here with Peter Jones of PSE Consulting. Thanks very much for joining me. Do you think new regulations such as PSD2 favours new entrants over established players?
Yes, I think the balance has gone too far, and I'm not sure that the DG competition and DG markets really understand risk and payment risk associated with that. It's all very well introducing new players, but if they don't have the depth of understanding of the payments business, it's highly likely that they will take risks which eventually may work out through the market and cause problems. I think that's number one. I think the second issue is that the PSD2 regulations enabling access to the current account doesn't really take into account the terrific investments that banks have built into their systems in risk analysis, in client history. If all of that's to be provided at no cost, it seems a very unfair piece of regulation.
Dealing with regulation is a costly and demanding challenge for banks, so how well do you think they're handling this?
I think the banks are struggling. I don't think we're just in the process of building a model. It'll really be in two pieces. One is to look at the cost of implementing and operating the regulation, and the second piece of the model will look at the cost of innovation and implementing innovation. So I don't see many interbank organizations or individual banks have really looked at the costs. It is said that the cost might be anywhere between 3 billion to 4 billion to implement, and goodness knows what it will cost to operate. So they're going to be high indeed, and let's hope our model will prove useful to some of the players.
As consumers expect more from their banks, do you think they can match them, or do you think this is a great opportunity for new entrants?
I think that's the difficulty that banks have, which is that the Fintech sector is much more nimble, much more flexible, much more adaptive and more inventive, and probably, strange as it is, closer to the requirements of the consumer than the banks who have that primary relationship. I think the downside of the Fintech sector is just purely one of security and trust, but banks are struggling. Some, I believe, will have to enter into alliances with the non-bank sector to deliver those new concepts and those new ideas. Certainly the medium to small banks just don't have the funding to innovate, and the big institutions like the cooperative frameworks in many countries no longer can deliver what they did deliver some 20 years ago.